showtime.
Welcome to Show Me Some Television, the segment where I get to binge watch television programs and talk to you about them, thanks to Roger's Show Me service, which I'm still getting for free. I don't know how long that's going to last, though. And in this segment, we are going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 2 from Nickelodeon. Now, there will be some spoilers, so if you're just at all curious about it, go check out the previous Show Me Some Television segment where I talked about Season 1. But yeah, let's get into Season 2. Now, one of the things I didn't talk about in the first one that I probably should have was the fact that in this iteration of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, April is a teenager. Now, you may remember in the first cartoon, she was essentially a news reporter, so she was obviously an adult, and these were teenage turtles. But in this one, she's essentially the same age, and I do think that that was a big up, good thing to do. Also, Casey Jones does come into the program in Season 2, and he's also a teenager, so he's the same age as April and the Turtles. So that is a good idea. I thought was smart. Definitely something that that made sense. Now, with regards to Season 2, the intro is almost the same as Season 1. Almost the same as Season 1, but there's a small little section which is different, which has some scenes and images from the second season, but not that, that weren't in the first season. But other than that, it's the same song and almost the same animation entirely. So nothing really new there. Season 2, like I said, in Season 1, there was a lot of character development in terms of Raphael. Now, at the beginning of Season 2, there's a little bit of that as well, but Season 2 deals more with Leonardo as a leader and questioning himself as the leader, and that sort of conflict. Michelangelo is the Joker, and there's a little bit of dealing with him as being the outcast in that sense. He's not the smartest one. He's constantly, getting in trouble and messing things up. And there's a few episodes that kind of deal with that. And then if you have Donatello, and Donatello's big thing is his character development is his infatuation with April, his essentially what becomes a love triangle between April, Donatello, and Casey Jones. So that's how his comes in. So Raphael, we've already established him as the hothead, and there is another episode with him trying to deal with his anger in Season 2, but that isn't the really, it isn't the mainstay of Season 2. It's more about mostly Leo and the love triangle, with a few episodes of Michelangelo and dealing with him and how he fits in with the group. Again, there's more dealings with Splinter and his history. At the end of Season 1, here's your biggest spoiler. Essentially they defeat the Krang and the Foot, and they're kind of hoping that they've managed to get rid of them, but it's continuing on. Obviously Shredder is going to be back, and as will be the Krang, and so it doesn't take long for them to start, having to having run-ins with both. And so we do get some new characters who show up. Obviously, there's more mutations happening. There is definitely more dealings with the Krang and Dimension X. And you start learning more about where they come from and what their plans are and how they're planning to do it. Shredder is mostly his dealing with Splinter and that rivalry still. He still wants to get rid of Splinter and the Turtles and deal with that. But there's also his dealings with Karai now, and her involvement of the family dynamics and fighting the turtles and such. And then eventually something crazy happens to her about 3/4 of the way through the season. She becomes really, really, I wouldn't say detrimental, but there's an important story plot area that comes around 3/4 of the way through the season involving her that will set the scene for, I'm guessing, season 3. But I haven't seen season 3, so I don't know. But I'm guessing. I think it's a lead up to that. What else? Season 2 climax is actually with a very, very, very crazy last 2 or 3 episodes involving I guess you would call it an alliance between Shredder and the Foot and the Krang and Krang Prime, and yeah, it's a crazy last 3 episodes. I won't say any more than that because there's a lot of red herrings and hints and exposition and mysteries and stuff and questions answered and all this kind of stuff happens in these last 3 episodes. So to say any more really gives too much away. So I won't do that. But I will say that if you enjoy the show in general, you're really going to get a kick out of the last 3 episodes there. We do have the introduction of a main bad guy now in the likes of Tiger Claw, who is essentially a mutant from Japan. And the reason why I bring this up is because the Turtles thing and the Krang invasion and all that kind of stuff is essentially happening in New York. And it's all about New York. Nothing... Like, if anything was happening elsewhere, who's defeating them? And this is one of the things I don't understand. Why don't the Krang just go and, say, like, invade London, England, or Paris, France, or Toronto, or L.A., or, whatever. Another city instead of New York, because that's where the Turtles are, and the Turtles keep foiling their plans. Why don't they go to another thing? But apparently, maybe they have. I don't know, because there's a mutant tiger assassin in Japan who now comes to New York and works for Shredder. So there's a mutant in Japan. How did that happen? I don't know. Are they making mutants everywhere and we're just following New York? And then in which case, like, if this is what's happening in New York, what's going on with the rest? This is the question I need answered. What is going on with the rest of the world? All I'm seeing is New York, but apparently there's mutants in the rest of the planet, and yeah, I don't have any of that knowledge. I'm really curious about that. But yeah, other than that, it's your standard thing. There's a lot of individual attack, mutant episodes. There's some episodes which are essentially meant to further the Krang plot line, and then there are episodes which are there to further the Splinter Shredder and their family dynamic and their history and that plot line. And then obviously those scattered episodes which are dealing with the Turtles themselves and developing those characters. There's also a little bit more development with April O'Neil and Casey Jones because of that. Because you've added in Casey Jones as a new good guy. You've added in the love triangle. You've added in April as being trained by Splinter. She is key to the whole Krang invasion, etc., etc. So there's a lot more involvement of April, which really I still don't get why she is. Like, her action figure is so hard to find, and yet she is such a main character. Like, main character. It's not just the 4 Turtles. It's the 4 Turtles in April, and then the 4 Turtles in April and Casey. And this is what you see in, like, so many episodes, and yet April O'Neil, the action figure, almost impossible to find. Always a rare. I don't understand why. I can find almost everything else except for her. yeah, I don't get it. I do not get it. What is wrong with you stupid toy makers? Because she's a girl, you're not going to put it out there? The other one's Karai. Karai is hard to find. It's like the female characters, you know what, we're not going to make them because boys don't want to play with girls. Hello? You're not thinking, honestly, you're not thinking. But anyways, back to the cartoon. Yeah, if you enjoyed season 1, season 2 is a lot more of the same. It's a little bit less of the, you know, just fight a different mutant character every episode. There is a lot more global story arc development, as well as, you know, the side story arcs and the general character development as well. So in that sense, I do think those people who weren't into season 1 may find that season 2 is more to their liking. So if you watched, you know, some of season 1 and found that, you know, it was just more of the same over and over and over and over again, you know what, stick with it, watch season 2, and if you still don't like it, that's fine. Yeah, there really probably isn't your cup of tea by that point, and that's, you know, like over 50 episodes you'd be watching, so I understand. But I do think that yeah, I think it really does deserve your attention in that regard, because it isn't just the same thing over and over and over again in the season 2. There is some of that, don't get me wrong. It hasn't gone away, right? People who enjoyed that in season 1, you gotta feed that need. But I do think that they tried to, you know, now that they got people hooked into it and all that kind of stuff, did try to expand the stories and the characters a little bit more than they had previously, and it shows. So, yeah, I don't know if I liked season 2 as much as season 1, because I am getting to the point where I really want to know more about these other countries, because as soon as they introduced a mutant from another, you know, another country, like had they introduced him and he was human and then they mutated him, that I would understand. But they didn't do that. He just showed up, he was a tiger. So that's my one beef in season 2. And it's a beef that it's only for me and my need. I really need to know what's going on now, because my knowledge of, you know, because that's the way it works. As long as the rest of the world is still in the same world that I'm thinking, then you can just fill in the blanks, whatever, and the turtle story happens in New York, and that's localized, and you know that. But if you've sort of opened up what's happening in New York to the rest of the world, you're not getting that rest of the world story, and I want that rest of the world story, because I'm curious, man. I'm so curious. So, yeah. Unfortunately, there are no more seasons currently on Shomi, so I am stopping at season 2, though I do know there is a full season 3 and at least a portion of season 4. I don't know if they do a half and half, but I think there's like essentially half the amount of episodes that have been in the other 3 seasons have been put out for season 4. So I don't know. I expect season 3 to come around soon on Shomi, and hopefully, you know, I'll still have it by when it comes out so I can watch those. But yeah, I don't know. Cross my fingers. So there you go. That is my thoughts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles season 2 from Nickelodeon. Thanks to Shomi and my ability to binge watch. Let me know if you're watching the show down below. Again, don't give me any spoilers. I don't want to know what's going to happen. But yeah, if you just want to, you know, talk about your love of the Turtles, you know where to do it. Down below, I'll read the comics and probably reply, because that's what I do. Thanks for watching. Until next video, take care. Have a good one.